Introduction. In this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe sits down with Edward Snowden, the former NSA contractor turned whistleblower. Snowden is best known for exposing the mass surveillance programs of the U.S. government, revealing how intelligence agencies collect vast amounts of data on citizens. Now living in exile in Russia, he continues to advocate for privacy rights and government transparency. This conversation dives deep into surveillance, government overreach, and the implications of his revelations for ordinary people. Detailed summary. The episode kicks off with Snowden recounting his early days in the intelligence community. He describes how he initially joined the CIA and later transitioned to the NSA, believing in the mission of protecting national security. However, as he gained access to classified information, he began to realize the extent to which the government was secretly spying on both U.S. citizens and people around the world. Snowden details the sophisticated surveillance programs like PRISM and X-Keyscore, which allow intelligence agencies to monitor phone calls, emails, and internet activity on an unprecedented scale. He explains how major tech companies, including Google, Facebook, and Apple, were either complicit or forced to comply with government demands for user data. Joe Rogan presses Snowden on how he made the decision to leak the documents, knowing it would cost him his career and possibly his freedom. Snowden recounts the process of gathering evidence, carefully planning his escape, and ultimately seeking asylum in Russia after being stranded in a Moscow airport due to revoked travel documents. A key part of the conversation revolves around the ethical and legal implications of mass surveillance. Snowden argues that the government's justification for these programs, national security, should not come at the expense of constitutional rights. He warns that unchecked surveillance creates a system where citizens are always being watched, even if they've done nothing wrong. Rogan and Snowden also discuss the impact of these revelations on public awareness. Snowden expresses disappointment that, despite the global attention his leaks received, government surveillance has only expanded. He emphasizes the importance of encryption and encourages people to take control of their privacy by using secure communication tools like Signal and VPNs. Throughout the conversation, Snowden touches on the broader consequences of living in a surveillance state. He explains how excessive data collection doesn't just affect privacy, but can also be weaponized against political activists, journalists, and ordinary citizens. He warns of the growing dangers of artificial intelligence being used in surveillance, making privacy even harder to protect in the digital age. Recap and analysis. This episode provides a fascinating and sometimes chilling look at how surveillance has evolved and what it means for the average person. Snowden's insights are a wake-up call about the power that governments and corporations wield over personal data. His message is clear. If we don't take privacy seriously, we risk losing our freedoms without even realizing it. For those interested in government transparency, cybersecurity, or personal privacy, this episode is a must-listen. It challenges the audience to think critically about the balance between security and freedom and highlights the need for accountability in government surveillance programs. Call to action. If this discussion intrigued you, make sure to watch or listen to the full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, number 1368 with Edward Snowden. There's so much more depth in the conversation that we couldn't cover in this summary. Share this episode with anyone who values privacy, technology, and the truth behind government surveillance. Stay informed, stay aware, and take control of your digital footprint.